Hello community, this is Charles Wyckoff and welcome to my YouTube channel, which is called Universal Equality for Humanity. This is also the same name for my Facebook group, so this YouTube channel will be in coordination with my Facebook group, which will enhance the visibility and audience. If you want to become a member of my Facebook group, then I will post a link in the description below so that you can request to join. We'll look at your Facebook profile and see if it's real. We see that you sincerely want to join the group, then we will accept your request and you can become a member of the Facebook group. I'm going to start making videos. This will be my introduction. But before, I want to give a description of what this group is about, which is very important for people to understand. The description that I'm going to talk about is also in the description of the Facebook group for you to read. And it goes as, the sole purpose for the group is to find people that do not like seeing humans suffering, division, and conflicts, but want to see peace, harmony, progress, love, and kindness for all humanity. And then there's a quote that I love from one of my favorite role models in my life, which is Mahatma Gandhi. He has said, "In the midst of death, life persists. In the midst of untruth, truth persists. In the midst of darkness, light persists." The social platform for this Facebook group is socializing, discussions, community, networking, meaning that between NGOs and nonprofits, and also the common people that live in the world, to work together and work on ideas together to find solutions to poverty issues. Polls, meetings, meaning that hopefully in the future I can be able to travel to other countries and to meet the people that are in the Facebook group on a personal level in meetings. And also activities. I'm not sure what kind of activities that would be in the future, but I'll figure that out later. The ambitions for this group is to build on ideas of common values, universal conscience. Now, everyone knows what conscience is. They can look it up on Google or any other search engine. And there's different descriptions of conscience. And I'm not a scientist, I'm not a doctor, so I'm not going to get into the details. But I think the basics for me, a conscience is our emotions, our feelings toward what is right and what is wrong, what can influence us emotionally for the good or for the bad. Now, I believe every human being that comes into this world has a conscience. Like also a brain. Everyone has a brain. But this conscience is universal. Everybody has it. Everyone has emotions and feelings. To me, in the basic terms, a conscience is that when children sees their parents or somebody being beat up or hurt, the kids typically cry and get upset and emotional because they feel in their heart that it's something that's not right. Also, conscience can be happiness. Kids are typically happy, and unfortunately when we get older we sometimes get more sad and depressed. But I think that's because of time and cultures that we live in that can cause sorrow and depression. But I believe another thing about conscience is right and wrong, good and bad. People know that if you steal from others, they know that it's not good. They know that if people are being misused in a million different ways, typically people know that people are not being treated right. And this is a conscience that every human being has, no matter if you're rich or poor. Now, some people can suppress their conscience and say, well, I don't care. I don't care about my emotions. I don't care about consequences that I will cause. I want to suppress my conscience, my emotions and feelings, because I don't care. But you have to suppress your conscience to do that. And I believe that this conscience is a guide, can be a guide for good. Of course, it can be suppressed, like I said, but it can be a guide for good, because typically people know in the basic terms what's right and wrong, in the very basics. Now, building on these common values, I want to build on social media to improve healthy social relationships, friendships, spirituality, and economic skills for all humanity, no matter where you live in the world. People with no desire for competition. I'm looking for people that have no desire for competition. Now, in terms of becoming super rich for selfish purposes, but to put its currencies into programs that can give education to the poor. To me, I don't think there should be any competition when it comes to human behavior and when it comes to helping the poor. Like I said, we all have a conscience. In some ways, we know what's right and wrong. As there is competition in businesses to compete to sell their products, helping the poor should not be a business. It should be a compassion of love that comes from the heart, not with intent to become rich. Competition in human behavior, in helping humans living in poverty, suffering in poverty, should not be a competition. There are tens of thousands of different NGOs and nonprofits in the world. There are many Christian nonprofits, NGOs, and of almost every religion that you can think of, non-religious, government affiliations that have some kind of charity organization, humanitarian efforts to help people suffering in poverty. But do we really need thousands of different Christian nonprofits when we as humans all have the same conscience? We all have the basic understandings of what's right and wrong. Should this be a business, or should it be a compassion for love that comes from our hearts to help those that are living in poverty? I think there should be no competition. It should not be a business venture. It should be a venture to find solutions, working together, solutions, and not just a band-aid to temporarily take care of it, to pacify, but not to resolve or make any long-term solutions. Also, help people in a trade and social skills to build on self-reliance, and for those around them to get out of poverty. People that like spending time in serving, ever learning through books, schools, and videos, and social media on how to make the world a better place for all humanity. I'm looking for people to join this Facebook group that don't want to spend their time watching fictional movies, going to endless activities that doesn't benefit anybody except for themselves or their circle of friends or family. But I'm looking for people that want to serve, that always hungry to learn about human behavior. Why is there poverty in the world so much? And reading books, watching YouTube videos and other social media platforms to learn about human behavior and how to work on issues concerning poverty. These are the people that I'm looking for to join my Facebook group. My invitation for the people out there is that if you're married and those are single, looking to find a companion that have common values of charity and compassion for humanity, are all welcomed. Now, I've always believed that if you're single and you have passion to serve others, people that are suffering, why would you want to marry someone that doesn't have the same passion? Sometimes that can cause conflicts in a marriage because one side wants to serve and the other side wants self-pleasure all the time. And I believe that can cause conflicts. Now, some people say that differences attract, but I don't necessarily believe that. We're all different, No one's the same, of course, but I think common values, a man and woman that are single, that are looking for the same types of passion, similar passions in life, and find each other, I think would be a better match. So this Facebook group is also for singles to find companions that have similar values and passions in life. And for me, I hope that I can help people that have passion for the poor and love for people suffering in poverty will find each other and will become a great team, a great helpmates for each other in helping toward a common goal, which is to help find solutions and work together in improving the poverty situation so that humanity may be able to grow socially, economically, and financially together, regardless of where we live in the world. Now, with that welcome, you do not have to be religious or spiritual to join. I don't care if you're Muslim, Hindu, Christian, atheist, it doesn't matter to me. Like I said, we're all human beings. We all have a conscience. We all know the basics of right and wrong. And I know that people that are not even religious, that have compassion for people suffering in poverty, they know that it's wrong. And they want to find solutions. They want to help out. So you don't have to be religious to join this group. All you have to have is have compassion in your heart and love for people that are suffering. All religions are welcomed. And I want all religions to try to work together. And like I said in the invitation, we need to find common values. Let's not make it complicated. In my personal quotes, I say, we all have a brain, conscience, and bleed the same color blood. Let us work together for a better place for all humanity. Now, the vision that I have for this group is integrate Facebook group, YouTube, WeChat, which is a social media platform in China, TikTok, PayPal, and other social media outlets into one platform. Of course, there's other things that I want to work on in the future, which is start a website. I don't have the resources to do that at this time. And I'll have all the different platforms in that website, including a database that shows things that need to be worked on and improvements, and also solutions, and also many other things that will be in the website. But that will be for a future date. Have nonprofits and NGOs from all around the world to work together on common values and input the information into the website. Not only I want the NGOs and nonprofits to work together, but also to have the common people, the people like you and me that don't work in government or that are not CEOs of corporations or large foundations, to work together, to be in this group and to share information and communicate with one another, and not just NGOs and nonprofits. I want the community to volunteer in sharing ideas and working together. And that's why I created this Facebook group, so that there can be communication. The common people of the world, regardless of culture, religion, or color of skin, communicate. We must show the world that this group of people love one another, working together and united. If we do not work between religions, spiritual and non-spiritual, different cultures, different countries, if we do not work together on common values, the same old broken record will play once again as history repeats itself and poverty will continue as is, and nothing major will improve. But I believe the common people can make a difference in the world, because I know there's a lot of good people out there in the world that want to make the world a better place. Governments in the world have their own agendas. We should only be focused on helping people get out of poverty. I am not political. I try to avoid politics because it oftentimes causes division and arguments. I am a religious person. I believe that there is one God. And I believe that this God that I worship is love. And unfortunately, throughout history, governments have come and gone. As you can read world history, major world empires have come and gone. And it's no different today. And there's always been conflicts between governments in different countries throughout human history. And it's no different today than it was 100 years ago, 1,000 years ago, 2,000 years ago, 4,000 years ago. It's still the same broken record. We should only be focused on poverty issues. We should not try to influence our political views on others. This is a platform where all people around the world are trying to work together on common values to try to help on poverty issues. I believe if we can work and communicate together and have love in our hearts and sincere and want to make a difference, then we should leave politics behind us. If you want to play politics and cause division, then this group is not for you. And I know that this group is not for everybody, and that's okay. People in this group need to have compassion in their heart for people suffering in poverty. I just mentioned that. That's essential, to have love in your heart. It can't be superficial. You really have to want to make the change. You really have to have love in your heart. Love to me is loving your enemy. Loving people that don't like you. People that want to fight against you. That's what love to me is. And I know that there's people out there around the world that have that kind of love and have that kind of compassion. And I want to find those people and bring them together so that we can start communicating and really making a difference. It is not enough to give temporary food and shelter, but no long-term solutions. I know that this might be controversial to some people. I know that there's a lot of NGOs and nonprofits out there around the world that are making great differences. Many people, hundreds of millions, that are suffering in poverty, that are hungry, and feeding, clothing, and educating. I know that they're doing a great job. And I don't condemn them for doing that. But I believe more can be done. I feel like feeding the hungry, clothing the naked, and temporary shelter, and very basic education is not enough. We can do better as a human race. We need to find long-term solutions. And if we can get people from all around the world to work on long-term solutions, then there will be a better path than just putting a Band-Aid on a cut. Another thing I want to say about NGOs and nonprofits and also governments around the world, I want to add to, I'm a student of watching world news, and one thing I notice in world news is that certain governments don't like other governments or other countries. And sometimes when that happens, the government that is funding money to charities do not want to help people suffering in poverty in countries that they do not like. This is something that I want to try to work around to work through governments. This is going to be a process that I'll be able to need help in with NGOs and nonprofits and the common people in the world to try to find solutions so that the common people can find solutions instead of big governments around the world carrying most of the weight of trying to feed the hungry, clothe the naked, temporary housing, and low education funding. I don't want governments to carry the biggest loads, like 80% plus of the finances, because it can be a trap. Because like I said, some governments don't want to help other governments or don't want to help other countries because they have disagreements or disputes with one another. This is something that I want to lessen. I want the common people of the world that are not in government, that are not rich, that are not have vast wealths in their corporations, but the common people, the billions of people out there that have resources to be able to donate toward organizations, NGOs, and nonprofits, toward long-term solutions, a better education. So not just basic education, but opportunity to learn a trade, an opportunity to go to college, regardless of where you live in the world, and adequate shelter so that you will be protected from the elements for your family and for your community and your friends. Adequate food production, self-reliance, so that people in their own countries can learn a trade so that they can be self-reliant instead of relying on corporations from other countries, foreign lands, supplying the poor cultures, while the poor don't learn any trades. It's important that people can learn the resources for trade and education, proper food made in their own countries, have the trade and the knowledge and the abilities to produce their own food. They can distribute it to their own people of their own culture, community, and their nation and their country, regardless of where it is in the world. And also, healthcare. Healthcare is a major issue in poverty-stricken areas of the world. Billions of people die prematurely because inadequate supply to be able to be treated for illnesses. This is not necessary. There's over 8 billion people that live on the earth, and only a small number of people, like 1%, control most of the wealth in the world. That shouldn't be the measuring point of the solution. The measuring point of solution is the community. The 8 billion people that live on the earth is much bigger than the small percentage of people that are in government and corporations that own the majority of the wealth in the world. This very small number of people compared to the masses. If we can get the masses together and to trust these NGOs and nonprofits, which I'll try to do to make sure that they're transparent in their transactions and in their dealings with helping people in poverty, so that the people, the common people, will not lose trust in these NGOs and nonprofits that are organized around the world, so that the masses can contribute to these organizations instead of the friction between governments and major corporations that do most of the heavy lifting. Is it really working? These small number of people? Is it really working? I don't think so, because there's still billions of people suffering in poverty. Because I know that there's a loving God out there, and I know that He wants all of His children to be taken care of. I believe that it is the human race, the small percentage of people that are in charge in governments and corporations and other platforms that are controlling and dictating environments around the world. I don't believe that these people of influence have power if the masses work together in helping people in poverty. I am looking for the common people to contribute more than the governments and big corporations can, which they do. They do help a lot, but it's a temporary band-aid. We need to find long-term solutions. And I believe if we can work together and communicate, regardless of religion or non-religion, whoever you are, where in the world, if we can work and communicate together, I believe we can find long-term solutions. There are people out there, many people, that want to make a difference in the world, and they have the compassion, they have the love in their heart, and they want to make a difference. I seek your help. Come and join my Facebook group so that we can have a better communication. We can have more nonprofits and NGOs working together toward working to make this world a better place for the human race. I do believe in governments. Don't get me wrong. Governments are essential. they can structure societies in good ways. I have nothing against governments. They are good. They are essential. But sometimes people in the government, they only have the interest for the rich, but not the poor. We, the people, the common people, need to show that we want to make a difference. We want to help the poor. We want to help the people that are suffering in poverty. We need to show to the world that there are people that have love in their hearts and compassion, and they want to make a difference on a social, economic level. Like I said, if you want to join my group, there'll be a link below, and I will review your Facebook profile and will accept it if it's a real Facebook account and if you have real intent to want to make a difference and want to work together with different kinds of people from different cultures and religions and countries and colors, all sorts of people work together on a common cause to helping people suffering in poverty get out of this horrible situation so that they will have an equal choice like the others that do have plenty, so that we can all learn to take care of one another as a human race. So if you like this channel, please subscribe to it and the like button so that YouTube will see that other people can be referred to it that are seeking similar channels. Thank you.